Indiana Jones versus Lara Croft versus Nathan Drake, the three best treasure hunters on the planet. But who'd come out on top in an all-out fight to the death? Well, today, that's what we're gonna figure out. What's up, guys? I'm Daniel, and this is DanCo. We do fight breakdowns every week, plus the occasional power ranking video like this one, or things like that. So if that seems interesting to you, we'll sit back and enjoy the video. Hit that like button. If you want to, we'll hit the subscribe button while you're at it. Now let's get to it. Renowned archaeologist, professor, and Nazi hater, Dr. Henry Indiana Jones is the world's greatest adventurer and part-time archaeology professor. He's been the star of 5 movies, but since he's going up against 2 video game characters today, we'll be using a composite version of Indy. So that means movies, his TV show, books, comics, games, all of that. And buckle up, because the composite Indiana Jones goes crazy. Indy isn't just a renowned archaeologist, he's also a trained and gifted soldier and intelligence agent, effectively defeating the Nazi regime twice all by himself. He's surprisingly strong. He's regularly been able to one-shot people during fights. He's regularly been able to knock over stone walls or heavy gates or locked doors, or some much more surprising stuff, like some legit multi-ton feats we've got here. He's also ridiculously tough. Indy has taken quite the beating before and lived to tell about it. And not just from like the big mechanic, I'm talking about being mauled by a bear, battling against demons or giants. He's okay after having bombs dropped on him or being hit with flamethrowers. Is it really no surprise that Indiana Jones was able to survive a nuclear bomb and walk away completely unfazed? And you better believe Indy is lightning quick too. He's been able to dodge bullets, dodge swarms of arrows, regularly outreact people. He's even able to dodge dragon fire or outrun a tiger. He's also a skilled and capable fighter, able to go toe-to-toe with assassins, beat down soldiers and thugs, even take on whole groups of opponents all by himself. With his trusty bullwhip, which Indy says he knows it so well that it's just an extension of his body, well, he can instantly disarm people, whip and slash them, and claims that he can cut people so efficiently that it's just like using a knife. Indy is also a skilled shot with his trusty pistol, and definitely isn't afraid to pull it out and just start blasting. Lara Croft is a refined lady of wealth and privilege, but that's not stopped her from traveling the world as an explorer and adventurer, guns ablazing, risking her life in pursuit of rare artifacts. She is the Tomb Raider. Now, there are actually 2 different Lara Crofts, the reboot and the original, but for this video we'll just be using the reboot version of the character, mostly because composite Lara Croft is absolutely insane. Indy and Drake are just treasure hunters. Lara Croft is basically out there dealing with Avengers level stuff. She's in a whole other league, so just the more toned down reboot version. Lara Croft is in peak physical condition, is almost superhumanly strong, especially for someone of her size. She's strong enough to routinely knock people out with just 1 or 2 hits. She's easily able to lift a fully grown man and lift some much heavier stuff, even a potentially multi-ton sarcophagus lid. And Lara is a menace with her climbing axe. One time she threw it at a helicopter and the helicopter exploded. Lara is ridiculously tough as well. She's able to regularly survive a near-death incident, just kind of brush it off and keep on trucking, especially explosions. Don't even try and blow her up. That just seems to make her stronger. And remember, a lot of this happens across the same story with very limited access to medical supplies, so her pain tolerance is really high as well. Lara is exceptionally fast, able to block or dodge most every attack that comes her way, whether it's armed mercenaries or wild animals or even bullets. Lara can react to it all. She's an absolute force to be reckoned with in a fight. And even though she's typically smaller than most of her opponents, she's able to rely on her agility, precision, and the element of surprise to turn the tables on them. She's also a very accurate shot, is ridiculously fast on the draw, and can thrive with pretty much any weapon. Her twin pistols are iconic, as are her bow and arrow and climbing axes, and Lara has been able to use them to clear through whole squads of men before. Nathan Drake is a fortune hunter and thief, and even though his quest for the ultimate treasure of gold and riches always seems to elude him, Nate makes some incredible discoveries and usually ends up saving the world along the way. From his many adventures and exploits, Drake has proven himself to be in top physical condition, to the point where he's able to put people down with just a couple of punches, or even break necks like it's nothing. He's able to climb anything, routinely catches himself from falls with just one hand. He's very, very strong. But where he really shines is his durability. For just an average human, Nate is able to keep on going after an astronomical amount of damage. He's able to keep on going after being shot. He's routinely survived long and oftentimes very dangerous falls. Then there's two instances that really highlight Nathan's incredible durability. First off, he survived wandering around in the desert for 2 days straight without food or water. When he finally stumbled across a ruined town, he encountered a whole swarm of enemies and was able to defeat them all. Secondly, after being shot in the gut aboard a train that derailed and is now dangling off a cliff, well, he was able to catch himself and climb up the train, then proceeded to take on an entire group of soldiers, all while bleeding out and surviving in freezing temperatures. Yeah, my boy is tough. Though he doesn't have any kind of formal training, Nathan is an incredibly skilled melee fighter and great with a gun. He's able to kill men twice his size, take on whole groups of enemies all by himself, even defeat highly trained fighters, or actually take out armored vehicles. Then on top of that, one thing about Nathan Drake is that he's a very, very lucky man. Maybe the luckiest man alive. He survived some ridiculous things that can only be attributed to luck. And some game developers have even said that as the screen grows gray, it isn't his health running out, it's his luck, meaning that he's closer to getting hit and going down. So, who wins here? Who's coming out on top? Well, from what we've seen from these three fighters, physically they're all roughly on par. All of them are superhumanly strong, able to move multi-ton objects. They can all react to bullets and get out of the way of attacks, and every single one of them can survive attacks that should have killed them like 10 times over. This is basically a wash. It's tough to say that one of them has the edge over the others here. Now, what you can say is that Nathan Drake is actually probably the most competent hand-to-hand combatant. Just from what we've seen from the games, he's regularly been able to hold his own. Second, might actually be Indiana Jones, just from his experience of boxing and everything. While this new version of Lara, a lot of her melee kills rely on stealth, which won't really work here if everyone is fighting all out. Then same with her standard gear and weapons. Indy would obviously have his trusty whip and his revolver. Nathan would probably have a semi-automatic pistol and an AK-47, and based on the newer games, Lara would have her climbing axe and her bow and arrow, maybe her dual pistols as well. Now, Indiana Jones definitely has the most experience with his weapons, especially the bullwhip, but they're also definitely the least powerful out of the group. I mean, Indy is great with his whip and all, but he's carrying a revolver and Drake is running around with an AK-47. Those things are not comparable. Now, if we're talking classic Lara Croft here, she could pretty easily flip her way to victory. She'd be way more well-trained, way more agile, and show off way more mobility. Basically like a fancy ninja out there. But with this reboot version of Lara, well, she loses a lot of her acrobatics and tends to go about firefights in a much more conventional way. And that's not going to go well for her here, because she's bringing a bow and arrow to a gunfight, and she can't compete with the kind of heat that Nathan Drake is packing. And I think that means I gotta give it to Nathan Drake here. Physically, they're all close to the same, but it's kinda hard to argue with Drake's ability to just soak up damage and keep on fighting through gunshots and other injuries. In a fight, I think he's shown that he's the most competent one out of the bunch. But again, it's close. Indy and Lara are definitely nothing to scoff at, especially Lara when she really gets going. But the biggest thing for Drake here is just his sheer luck. Sure, Indy is pretty lucky too, so is Lara, but Nathan almost has a supernatural power for good luck. Kinda like Domino from X-Men, things just always seem to fall his way, and I think that's what's gonna ultimately give him the edge here. Nathan Drake wins. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.